Hey guys, Sundown here. This is going to be my chapter review to One Piece 901, Even If You Die, Don't Die. Now this chapter I actually thought it was pretty good. I'm not sure what the general consensus was, especially with how the ship turned out and everything like that. But I actually enjoyed it. I thought this was the way for it to go. There wasn't really anything else that could have happened, and I felt like if this was one of those situations where it was all a dream, or if it was just Luffy seeing the future or something like that, it would have been worse. But I actually thought this turn of events was better for the story, and it was actually the best way for Oda to go. So yeah, and first things first, the latest new giant pirate we see on the cover page of this chapter, and we're introduced to the doctor of the new giant pirates named Girth. I thought it was a dude, and I think we've actually been introduced to this giantess before, but it's a female giant. And she looks awesome. She's got this huge ass axe with this little cutout, almost as if it's for beheading, but it looks slightly blunt, so it's maybe like the blunt side where she can just crack necks or something like that. She looks awesome, huge axe, but she looks very Nami-like, so she's kinda hot. And I'm still like, bro, okay, it's a pretty good looking doctor, both in terms of design and in terms of just a good looking lady. But this chapter starts with Pero giving Big Mom a sit rep. You know, he's just giving her a situation report, and the way he does this makes it seem like he's had enough of her shit. He's just stood there saying, you're the captain, so I guess I'll have to make a report to you, or I guess I'll have to report to you. And to be fair to him, with the tone that he kind of said that in, I'd be pissed off too. I mean, like, when you think about it from Pero's perspective, you gotta be like, bitch, I've been fighting my ass off since the Straw Hats have gotten here. I've been putting in mad work. I've lost my freaking arm. And she's lying there with a euphoric expression on her face after having just munched down a huge ass cake all by her one. So yeah, I feel for Pero, and I'd be annoyed too. So yeah, props to him. And you know, I would be annoyed just as much as Pero seems to be. We then go back to Cacao Island, where the Big Mom fleet realize something isn't right. The ship they destroyed wasn't the Thousand Sunny, but rather the ship of the Sun Pirates, the legendary ship captained and crafted by Fisher Tiger. How did I feel about this? Like I mentioned earlier on in the chapter, I was actually okay with it. If it had been the Thousand Sunny, it would have been game over for the Straw Hats, and it would have been game over for One Piece then and there. Like it would have just finished. There's no way the Straw Hats would have escaped in a realistic and really plausible manner for us to also be content with how they did it. So I think this was the best way. So we had to really expect something like this, or One Piece would have finished like last chapter. So I was fine with the way they did this. The explanation for the switch between the Fisher Tiger's ship and the Straw Hat ship is right before the Thousand Sunny was gunned down. Wadatsumi pulled the Thousand Sunny underwater and switched it with the Sun Pirates' ship. He then puts the Thousand Sunny in his mouth, saving the crew from the seawater, so people like Luffy, Chopper, and Brook are fine, and Nami and the rest of them don't drown. With this, he swims away, escaping with the Straw Hats. Now, right after this, we see Smoothie identifying that it was indeed Wadatsumi who stole the Thousand Sunny from them, and for me, she's like literally a spectator right now. She's doing nothing. She's just watching shit happen around her, and she's being as useless as she could possibly be. Now, as a sweet commander and as like she should be leading her siblings right now, but she's been completely useless, and she's just there alerting her crew to what she sees. We've got Pero and Oven doing the complete madness this entire arc, and here's Smoothie saying, I knew it, they got away, gosh darn it. And I'm just like, she's a sweet commander, bro. Like, what are you doing? She's been so useless. I'm hoping somewhere along the line she'll put in some work. But at the moment, the Straw Hats are making a beeline out of it, and the fishermen are the people they're fighting against. So I don't think Smoothie will get another opportunity, really, another good opportunity to make it look like she's actually done something. So the Big Mom fleet is ordered by Smoothie, one of the few things she's done, to turn around and to follow the Straw Hats, with Oven putting in some more work. So once again, Oven's putting in the back work. He's carrying this team, a proper hard carry right now, alongside Pero and what was his name, Katakuri. Now, the versatility of Oven's Devil Fruit this entire arc once again has been amazing. We've seen him shoot like heated, concentrated beams of air and like puncture people with those beams of air. It's not really creating a hole in them, but really just burning through an individual. We've seen him earlier on. He boiled the sea to ward off the fishmen, and in this chapter he shoots tendrils of heat through the water, burning the escaping Wadatsumi. So they kind of home in on him like homing missiles, and they burn through Wadatsumi. And I was like, yo, this is pretty sick, and it's a really creative way for Oven to utilize his devil fruit. And even the naming of it, Oda once again has really named it in a really cool manner. I think it's named after somewhere where something to do with volcanic activity. I've forgotten exactly what it was. It's explained on Jaimini's box. Now, I think Oven has got to be the MVP, or at least in the MVP discussion for the Big Mom Pirates this arc. He's been pulling more, just like above and beyond his weight. This guy has been crazy, and considering he's not even a sweet commander, he's just I think he's one of the first few sons that were born, but he's just been putting in a lot of work, and I think him above Smoothie any day. I mean, like, she's thick, but she's been stupid, and like, so she's been completely worthless this entire arc. Now with this, Wadatsumi surfaces once he's been burned through by Oven and releases the Straw Hats. He spits them out. And kind of mimicking Hachi here, Wadatsumi apologizes for his previous actions against the Straw Hats, and he then flashes back to the discussion the Sun Pirates have and the resolve that they'd reached. So during this flashback, Praline tells the Sun Pirates of how Big Mom won't let Jinbei escape. She's like, nah. Anybody who comes in doesn't get out. So the Sun Pirates come to the realization that they'll be serving as a shield for Jinbei, and they may die in the process. Giving them the opportunity to turn back, Aladdin tells his crew that not all of them are going to die. Obviously, they need someone to tell the story, you know? So he kind of just hypes them up in that way, like, we'll need somebody to tell the tale. And they're just like, yeah, woo. And with this, the crew kind of makes up their mind, forming a line between the Straw Hats and the Big Mom fleet. Now, Aladdin looked really cool here, looked cool as hell, to be fair. And when he pulled Wadatsumi down under the water with one arm, I was like, this guy he's pretty strong, and I was pretty impressed. And then he even goes on to take on Oven, seeing him as kind of like the biggest threat right now. You know, it's essentially Captain v Captain. So this is kind of another blemish on Smoothie's record so far, you know, that she wasn't even targeted by the acting captain, or really the captain by rights now, of the Sun Pirates, Aladdin. He went for Oven because he was deemed the biggest threat. I mean, like, he seems to be the only one who can actually attack them while they're underwater, so it's understandable. But he's also been the biggest threat, so like all the way through. So just that fact is another blemish on Smoothie's record so far. The Sun Pirates tell the Straw Hats and Jinbei to escape, but the best part here was how Praline waves at her half-brothers and sisters. She just pops out the water and she's like, hey guys, and they're like, son of a... Oh my god. And I was like, she's such a boss, such a troll. I really like that little one panel we see on like page 13 or something like that. You guys will see it. So suddenly Jinbei starts rolling some instructions on the Straw Hats quick time. He's just relaying them. He's like, remove the water, patch the sails, catch the wind, escape as fast as possible. And Brook and Luffy obviously realize straight away that something is up. Or like, you know, why is Jinbei relaying all these instructions? And this all occurs only for Jinbei to tell them that he can't leave his former crew, his brothers, behind. So Luffy readies himself. He gets up. He's like, I will continue to fight and stuff like that. But Jinbei quickly dismisses this by asking Luffy to let him reinforce the rear guard, which is what the Sun Pirates are serving as right now. Now this part gave me the chills. Jinbei promises to Luffy and the crew that he'll make it back alive, that they'll make it back alive. And Luffy just glares at him. He's just looking at Jinbei. And Jinbei just looks back. He's just glaring back, only for Luffy to remind him. Luffy's like, I'm your captain now. And he's like, I'm the captain now. And I was like, yo, shit. So Luffy's just like, just remember, Jinbei, I'm the captain. And in their last moments together until Jinbei returns, Luffy tells Jinbei that they'll escape, as in the Straw Hats will escape. But in return for this, Jinbei must meet them at Wano. And then finally Luffy disallows Jinbei from dying. Even in the face of death, you're not allowed to die. So with his cape on, with his expression and blood pouring out of his side, Luffy made this scene awesome, and the impact of it was very, very well done by Oda. I really liked this part. It was so well done, and like I said, it gave me the chills. So we then go to Big Mom and Pedro's Peril once again, who are making their way over to Cacao Island at speed. Big Mom seems to have fully recovered and wants to take Luffy's soul to create a powerful homie, or powerful homies, much like Maria. We then see Beige and the Fire Tank Pirates drifting away silently on a stolen tart ship, really, and they seem to be relieved that they are free at the moment, but they also still have that kind of concern about the Straw Hats and their situation, as shown by Chiffon's face. Now the final page is Jinbei tells Nami to escape as soon as possible, get out of here. As when fishmen actually get serious in their fight, the ocean currents can change, and that's exactly what happens. Jinbei teams up with Aladdin, much to Aladdin's frustration, but they cause the ocean to rock and sway, making it incredibly difficult for the Big Mom Pirates to pursue the Straw Hats. It was a really well drawn page as well. You see all these waves crashing in from side to side. It's almost as if Edward Newgate or Whitebeard was there, causing an earthquake over the ocean. So the final thing we see is Big News Morgans and Stussy on a flying vessel kept aloft by birds attached by cables to the ship. Now it's a unique design for a ship, but it's here really that Stussy notices how excited Morgans is getting from hearing the Straw Hats are escaping. He seems to have tapped into the Big Mom fleet's Den Mushis or something and receiving their intercoms, and Morgans agrees with Stussy. He's like, yeah, I am hyped, and he says he supports Luffy. His reasoning: one of the worst generation will become the next Pirate King, and he says that Luffy is a prime candidate. What an epic tone to finish the chapter on. So with that, the chapter ends, and that's what we got this week. There's no break next week, obviously. And like I said before, I really enjoyed this chapter. Seeing Morgan's really put in that support for Luffy at the end. He's just like, yeah, I think Luffy's going to be the one, because one of the worst generations is going to be the Pirate King, and I'm like his prime candidate. His bet is on Luffy, and he's like, yeah, Luffy's going to be the one. So I like that. I like the design of Morgan's ship. It's kind of like it just kept aloft by birds. It's a really unique design. I liked how Jinbei couldn't, being that kind of honorable character, really dignified individual, he couldn't leave behind his former crew and just let them die for him. He's going to go then, he's going to back him up, and he promises to Luffy that he'll meet him in Wano. So it's maybe there's going to be a situation in Wano where they're in another dire situation. They're about to get their asses kicked, and then the fishmen just roll onto the land and kind of like a cavalry, they just destroy everyone in front of Luffy. That would be an awesome way for them to return. But I do think Jinbei and the Fisherman Pirates will just return kind of in a very kind of just a very soft tone. They won't explode in. I think they'll just walk in and be like, hey, what's up, we're still alive. But it would be cool to see them come in and like as a cavalry. But seeing as they're fishmen, I doubt they'd be able to storm the land like cavalry would. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought of the chapter. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And do let me know what you thought of the chapter, because this chapter was, I do feel people will have a bit of an issue with how Wadatsumi allowed the Straw Hats to escape. So if you're one of those guys, let me know what you thought, and I'll respond to you if I can. So yeah, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys in a bit.